What's up, my bros? Oh man, the T Super back at it again. So, yeah, we're all just kind of waiting around on, seeing more information on MX versus ATV Legends. Kind of feel like that's what everybody's doing right now. We're kind of like, okay, we saw the trailer, we saw everything. When are we going to see more on the game? And I don't think we're going to see very much anytime soon, because I still think they're pretty early in development. I think they kind of rushed everything to get the trailer out there for the Nordic 10th anniversary or whatever that was. So, but in the meantime, we can come in here and imagine and think about different things and talk about different things. So that's kind of what this video is all about. I want to talk about this whole open world sort of vibe that they seem to be going for with MX versus ATV Legends. If you look on their website, it actually says massive, what does it say again? Let me think in my head. Let me not get this wrong here. It says massive, I don't think it says open world. I think it says massive open environments or massive environments. It's something along those lines, right? And, if you watch the trailer and all that kind of stuff, you can just kind of tell that's the whole vibe. Seems to be one of the biggest vibes that they're pushing with MX vs. ATV Legends. I mean, I actually think that's one of their quote-unquote newest features to the game, because other than that, there's really not a whole lot more that seems new about the game other than the Trails mode. But other than that, I think one of the biggest different things you're going to see with Legends is just how big and, sprawling these different maps really are. These different, I guess you could call them Freeride maps, right? Dude just racked it. What I kind of picture is if you imagine, some of these different Freeride tracks on, MX vs. ATV Unleashed or Reflex or whatever, they kind of all have somewhat of a similar overall size to them. And I feel like with Legends, you're going to get something that's like that, but 3 to 5 times bigger. You know what I mean? It's going to be a actual, more down the vein of open world. I'm not going to say it's completely open world, but they say massive new environments. So, I mean, let me go look at exactly what the heck this is. Hang on just a second. Okay, yeah, I had to look just to make sure that I was saying it right. Yeah, it's new massive open environments. That's the way they word it on their website. So this is actually kind of cool, man. I mean, this is actually an interesting little thing that I didn't really expect to be a new feature in the next MX vs. ATV game. But I think it's pretty cool, and I think it can be expanded on in a lot of different ways. But, you can just imagine some track that's like the Freeride tracks on Reflex, but 3 times that size. Just imagine how badass that would be. I cannot survive that jump. Oh, just kidding. Just land on that back wheel, baby. You'll be good every time. You'll be good every time. Oh, man. You gotta love those little physics things. Reflex kind of has that, too, where if you really massively over... Am I on a 2... I think I'm on a 125 right here. What the fuck am I doing? That's why the bike feels so slow. I'm not actually listening to the gameplay sound here. I was like, why does this bike feel slower than normal? I think it's actually the Pro Circuit 125. It could be a 250. I don't know. But I was in there doing some fun little videos. I don't think I see the 2-stroke pipe on it. I was in there doing some fun little live stream videos. There's no telling what bike I'm on when I get back into these different games. But... So yeah, I think this is a cool thing that people need to pay attention to with Legends that could really make an awesome experience out of it. I mean, you start getting in that, I kind of picture it somewhat like how Forza Horizon is, but for a motocross game. That's kind of what I'm thinking in my head. I could be overthinking it a little bit, it could not actually be that to that level, if you know what I mean. But But just having bigger just the fact they use the word massive, and it says new, massive, open environments, massive. I mean, it's got to be something like we've never seen before, right? MX vs. ATV can't go in there and use that kind of language, and then we get something that's like the same size of, the standard reflex freeride tracks. They've got to be doing something, you know what I mean? They got to have something up their sleeves with it, and I just think it could be a really cool thing, especially if they have a lot of different trail enduro content on a humongous freeride map where it's like there's a motocross track, a supercross track, a supermoto, hill climb, enduro, trail, big jump, freestyle, dune, freeride. Like, you could almost have everything on literally one massive freeride track. That would be sick, bro. That would be sick. If you've ever played like a bunch of these if you've really done a lot of free riding in some of these other arcade motocross games, you'll kind of know how, damn, I'm going to crash in that same spot. Ooh, that's a rough spot right there. That berm is big daddy. But, yeah, so I really think that, the different freeride tracks in these games, to me, they feel pretty good size-wise. They feel like you can kind of get around and hit some big jumps and have fun, especially if you're in there with your buddies free riding. It can be a good time even on reflex, But I do think they're just right at that point where you can notice that you really have a boundary there, where if it was like two or three times the size, it would almost be so big that it kind of makes the boundary of the freeride map sort of not seem as prominent. You know what I mean? It kind of makes it seem like it's like this perpetual, thing where it's like almost makes the freeride track feel more infinite than when it's the size of like these freeride tracks on Unleashed, Untamed, Reflex, stuff like that. So if they can capture that kind of feeling, that's going to be pretty badass, dog. That's going to be pretty cool. Oh my God, you just never know how big the jump's going to be you're going to come off of. Oh man, could be 300 foot, could be 5 foot. Like, you just never know. Been a long time since I've really rode on some of these freeride tracks on Unleashed, but to me that seemed like that used to be such a pillar element to these MX vs. ATV games. And they kind of started to lose that vibe once they got into MX vs. ATV Supercross, and it had literally no freeride tracks at all. None. Right? And then they did do a decent job on the freeride content of All Out, but it's cool to see that we seem to be getting an entirely different thing with that on Legends. So yeah, I just want to make this video, let some of you guys know that didn't really notice that about the game. You didn't really realize that it was going to have these new massive open environments. I think you really are going to get some cool different kind of vibe. I don't know if you're going to start in some massive environment and it's going to be like kind of how Forza Horizon is. I'm not really sure. Forza. I don't really know how to say it exactly, but I think it's going to surprise some dudes when they get in there and they're like, oh, wow, this is actually a pretty cool feature in the game that I wasn't expecting, I do think that's going to happen when Legends comes out. But yeah, man, definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think about it. I really hope they bring back some cool, big-ass sand dune tracks where it's just dunes after dunes after dunes. I hope they have a cool, this may sound crazy to some of you guys, but I really want to see some kind of fantasy freeride track in it. I don't care if it's a moon freeride track where you've got lower gravity. I don't care what the heck it is. Give me something cool. Give me something that I just didn't expect, right? Or some futuristic, weird looking freeride track in the city and everything's concrete. I just want to see something cool, man. Yeah, they can have some other freeride tracks that are normal, the stand, like you saw in the trailer, where it kind of had the tropical beach vibe, and then it had sprawling other areas and stuff. But I just think it would be so cool, man, if an MX vs. ATV really is the only real company that's capable of that at this point, of having some kind of cool, fantasy style track in the game, because the Milestone games are trying to stick so to that realistic shit that they're never going to make a space track. They're never going to make anything that's super unique or cool or what the heck ever, But I think we're just not even remotely tapping into the full potential of the different kind of cool tracks you can have in these games, biome-wise and big jump design-wise and stuff like that. And I've tried to show what I'm talking about with all that, with all the custom tracks that I've made on MX Simulator. Between all of the space tracks, I've made a track on every single planet in that game. Okay, big dog status. And that's just the start of it. Like, I've made a trippy track that had these cool little smiley faces that were changing colors on the side of the track, and you were just like in this endless void. I've made a dimension track. It's endless. If you haven't taken a look at my custom tracks on MXM, I do have a playlist on my front page called My Custom Tracks. It's worth a look. But that's kind of what I got known for with my tracks on MX Simulator, just how crazy they were. Just like, people never even expected that you could have a motocross track on those certain things. And I just feel like we're not, there's kind of the difference, like you have your realistic biomes and track designs, then you have that sort of in between where it's like a little more than you would typically have normally, like a Northern Lights track or a Faro track or whatever, like they have on some of these older MX vs. ATV games. That's kind of in the middle, right? Then you go all the way to the fantasy side. That's where you start getting into the space tracks and the 300-foot straight up and down jumps and the thread the needle cool little tracks and crazy shit, right? Just shit you never even dreamed of, or it's like tropical mixed with space, or it's what the heck ever, I just think MX vs. ATV could benefit from I'm not saying they need to make their whole game like that, not even half of their game like that. Just throw us in a couple of cool little crazy ass things, couple of cool little crazy, like I'm saying, a moon track or a, something. And if they ever do go in there and make a moon track, for the love of God, let me have a little bit of input into it, okay? I'm the first guy that ever made a space track in a dirt bike game ever, but, let me have a little input on it, MX vs. ATV. Oh, man, I can make that so cool. But it's just cool when you start to open up the doors of, like, okay, you can make a track anything. You can make the biome anything. You can make the skybox anything. You go to some of those tracks on MX Simulator, it's literally like a Dragon Ball Z track, a Mario Kart track. Like, dog, there's so many different things they could do that would be fun and different. And like I'm saying, yes, they can definitely get overboard with that, and then it's like kind of takes away from the game in a sense if they do too much of it, but they're not doing any of it right now. So I think they have room to do a little bit of that. But anyways, I think this new massive open environment shit is going to be pretty cool in Legends, and I'm really excited to see that. And definitely let me know down in the comments, what you guys think that's going to actually end up being in the game, and I'll take a look at it. But yeah, man, that's about all for this. I just wanted to kind of let people know, if they didn't realize that is actually one of the newer features in the game. And just, by the way, the nature of the trailer and the new trail mode and the, just the way they showed everything, it just seems more like it's going to be this whole different experience that is, more like a Forza Horizon or something like that. So we'll see how it all goes down. Of course, I do still think they're going to have the standard Supercross, Motocross, all that kind of stuff in the game. It's not like you can't go ride, go to like an event or a time trial on a certain track or whatever. But you guys know how they kind of did it a little bit with All Out, with the place where you start on there, but that wasn't really to the point it needed to be. It was a cool little thing, but I think that's just going to be expanded on so much more in Legends, and should be a pretty cool thing. So either way, man, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later, dudes.